I've done make class in the past where like 2 people show up. 1 year, I remember there was one student, this poor girl, she showed up, she's the only one, and I called on her for the entire class. I had nothing else to do. She was on call the entire class. There was one human being in the room. So 28. That's actually almost the entire section. So I'm actually pleased. I was worried. I considered merging 1 and 2 and just doing 1 to save time, but I said no. Let me give them their normal class. They're with their classmates, and it's weird having different people in your class. You're not used to them, and so anyway. But so thank you. I'm grateful that almost probably 85% of you are here. All right. We are at a very precarious point in this semester. And what do I mean by that? The topics we're covering now are not easy. They're hard. And I've gotten a lot of emails from students. A lot of you have come to office hours, which I appreciate. And you're asking a lot of the same questions, which is good. That tells me that your minds are all sort of in the right track and you're thinking about these things the right way. But I know there's confusion, and I know that things aren't going to make sense. So let me just remind you of the schedule going ahead. Today is class 13. I'm going to review what we did in class 12, and I want to do the Marin-Holtz, the school board case. We didn't get a chance to finish it. I want to do it today. We're going to start talking about contingent versus vested remainders today. At least we'll start. I don't know if we'll finish, but at least we'll start. In class on Monday, we'll be talking about executory interests. And as well, we'll continue our discussion of contingent and vested remainders. We're doing a makeup class on Tuesday, which again is not your usual time and place, but I want you to have that before the midterm. My goal for the class on Tuesday is to review again the defeasible states, the vested and contingent remainders, and executory interests. That's my goal. If I succeed, I don't know. Wednesday will be your midterm. I think I mentioned this. If I didn't, I apologize. We're not doing the blind grading the exam numbers. We're not doing exam soft. It's a pain in the neck for me and for you, and it slows down the grading process. Because if you guys take your midterms on Wednesday, I may not get your papers right away, and I want to start grading them right away. So here's what I'm going to do. Around 8:45, I'll call it 8:30. Around 8:30 a.m. on a Wednesday, I'll mail you the exam question. It'll be one of my old exams. It won't be a new one. So if you've done all my old midterms, no surprise, but I'll send you one of my old ones. And just type an answer in Word and email me a document. It's easier. You'll be on your own time. I have so many issues with the exam software that I just don't want to deal with it for the midterm. And then the plus side of that is when I send you your grade, what I'm going to try to do is actually add comments to each paper and say, you got 7 out of 10 in this one, and 8 out of 10 in this one, and 9 out of 10 in this one. I think the numerical values in each of the parts of the questions will be much more useful than just saying you got a B or an A or whatever it is. If I see that you did something egregiously wrong, I'll say in the comment, you screwed this up, or, oh, that's a nice answer. Yeah, that's right. Or you missed this case. I'll try to actually give feedback on the exam itself, and that way you'll have that. My goal, which I am probably not going to hit, but my goal is to try to finish before spring break finishes. If I don't, I'm sorry. We're all human here. It depends how good the exams are. The better the exams are, the faster I can grade them. If they're not so hot, then it takes me a lot more time to give feedback. So I don't know. I can't promise you, but that's my goal. All right. Does a calendar make sense for everybody going ahead? That makes just where we are in the semester. Yeah, go ahead. I see. Hold on. Yeah, Derek, go ahead. That's quite all right. Okay, that's fine. I appreciate the thumbs up. I just saw a body part fly up, and then I wasn't sure which body part. Yeah, Matthew, go ahead.
You may have answered this before, but I just want clarification. Do you like Iraq format?
I'll talk about this later.
Later, okay.
Yeah, I want to do it in the full class here, not when only I'll talk about this maybe on Monday, but not yet. I got too much stuff to do today anyway. All right. Any other questions on just the schedule or going ahead? If you want to look at my old exams over the weekend and try to take one and go look at the old A+ answers, I think that'll help you get a sense, but I'll talk about that on Monday. Okay, everybody. I put the link in the chat for today's class notes. I got a lot of questions on Doc. I don't know how many I'm going to do, but I want to start off by filling in our lovely chart. You should have this in your notes already, so I'm going to probably do it more quickly than I usually would last class, but I do want to go through it one more time because I think there's value in sort of repeating the various interests. All right. I'm going to try using the roster. This may be an absolute failure because people aren't here, but I will do my best. I have to open up the property roster. 1 second. Sorry, I should have had this before. Okay. Who's up next? Okay, Derek, there you are. All right. Well, then you're up first, but you get the easiest row. So I want you to help me fill in the row for fee simple. So just help us out here. What is the duration, Derek, of the fee simple?
Fee simple is forever.
Okay, good. It lasts forever. And then what are the magic words, so to speak, to convey the fee simple?
So I have to A and his heirs.
Yeah, very good. The A and his heirs. Very good. Okay. And then so who has the future interest here, Derek, with the fee simple?
A's heirs.
Yeah, perfect. Now, does it have to be A's heirs? I want to just make that point clear for your notes. Does A have to leave Blackacre to his heirs?
No, since he has the entire fee simple, he can divest to whoever he wants to.
Okay, I'm giving you an actual thumbs up, not a Skype one or a Zoom one, but an actual one. Okay, good. All right, thanks so much, Derek. That's excellent. Okay, is that Nicole next?
Yep.
All right, Nicole, help us out. What is the duration of a life estate, ma'am?
The life of A.
Okay, good. All right. What are the magic words that can be used to convey a life estate?
To A for life and then to B and his heirs.
Okay, let's do one at a time, okay? The A for life. That's your first one, right? What do we call the future interest with that conveyance?
Remainder and fee simple.
Not remainder. Who has the future interest in that case?
Oh, whoever conveyed it to A.
And who's that? We assume.
O.
Okay. So what does O have? What do we call that?
Fee simple.
What's the future interest called?
Oh, remainder.
No, it's not a remainder. It's not a remainder. Jessica, you here?
Yes, I'm here.
What is O's interest in this case called?
Reversion and fee simple.
How do you know it's reversion there, Jessica?
Oh,
See, it's hard.
just in my notes there. I don't know
You have to.
why.
Alexandra? No? Grant, you here? I
Yeah,
can't.
I'm here.
I'm sorry. When I'm on this stupid screen share, I can't see my roster because everything just sort of disappears. Grant, why is this a reversion here, sir?
Because it's going back to the original bestower.
Right. It's a future interest that follows a life estate that goes back to the grantor. Right? Grant, I'll come back to you in a second, I promise. Now, if you read the readings today very carefully, the book gives a slightly broader definition of reversion, which is not wrong. I gave you a definition that got you the first 2 or 3 classes. And then after today, the definition gets broader. So what kills students is it starts off seeming very simple, and then the same concept keeps having more and more layers to it. All right? So just be careful with your terminology. But for certain, when you have a future interest after life estate that goes back to the grantor, you got a reversion. But there are other types of reversions that we'll talk about later today. All right. Grant, while I got you here, do you want to give me the other type of remainder we talked about? Oh, damn it. I gave it away. The other type of future interest we talked about? I always do this.
Remainder.
Yeah.
Remainder in fee simple.
Okay. So what would a remainder look like? Just give me the magic words, Grant.
It would be, you first have to A for life, and then to B, and if it's fee simple, and his heirs.
Yeah, very good. And just to be clear, what's the future interest here?
It's remainder in fee simple.
Okay. Now, I am not going to blow up your chart yet, but now you know after today's reading, this chart gets more messy, right? Because there are now two types of remainders, right? There can be a vested remainder and there can be a contingent remainder. I'm not putting on the chart quite yet. I will later, I promise, but not yet. So you're seeing how like the rows start just getting even more and more complicated. Just wait till Monday, it gets worse. All right, that was Grant. Thank you very much, sir. Harrison, you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Harrison, help us out here. What is the duration of a fee simple determinable?
Well, it is durational, I guess.
Yeah. I kind of answered the question with the question, but what does durational mean? Help us out there.
So like, it's words like until, during. I think the reading told us also until, during, so long as.
Good.
There was,
Good. Yeah. While is there also, right? All right. So give me an example of a fee simple determinable using a school board. And now you know why we're talking about school board, because school uses, because that was the case in Marinholtz. So give me an example of schools.
yeah, so it'd be like from O to school
Okay.
until Blackacre is no longer used for school purposes.
Yeah, I'll just phrase it slightly. I'll say from O to school so long as Blackacre is used for school purposes. I just tweaked it slightly to avoid the negative because you had a negative in it. It just makes it a little more complicated. What you said is not wrong. You said it's fine.
Okay.
But from O to school so long as Blackacre is used for school purposes. Okay, that's fine. All right, thank you, Harrison. Marissa, are you here? Marissa? I do not see Marissa. Okie doke. Elena, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, Elena, help us out here. What would be the future interest that matches up with this present interest we just wrote out?
With a fee simple determinable.
Yes. What's the future interest that matches up with this fee simple determinable?
The reverter.
Not exactly. You did it.
Possible reverter.
Oh, you're even closer, but still not right. What's it called?
Possibility of reverter and fee simple.
I think you said it right. Just say it one more time clean.
Possibility of reverter in fee simple.
And who has that future interest?
The owner.
Which I need a name.
A name.
Or a letter.
O.
Okay, good. O has, I'm not done with you quite yet, Elaine, I promise. O has a possibility of reverter in fee simple. How do you know, Elena, that O has a possibility of a reverter in fee simple?
Because of this language, so long as a school uses the Blackacre for school purposes.
Okay, good.
Because it doesn't, then it reverts to O.
Don't say reverts. Please don't say reverts.
I'm sorry.
It's
Then
okay.
it goes back to O.
Correct. Good. You remember. Yeah. And the reason why I'm being so mean to poor Elena, I'm sorry, is that if you say it reverts, you'll just call it a reverter, which is what you did. Just you have to just use the terminology correctly. Otherwise, I teach this class every year, and every year people make the same mistakes in the exam. So I'm trying to avoid you from making these errors. I'm doing the best I can. All right, Elena, thank you for that. Steph, you here? Steph? No, I think she emailed me. Okay. Okay, I think Derek, are you next? You're here. I know you're here. Let me ask the question then. With the fee simple determinable, is it automatic, or does O have to take steps to assert his claim to the property? Right. I think Derek gave me a very good answer. I want to make this point clear. With the fee simple determinable, it's automatic in the theoretical sense, right? If the school is used for, let's say, a factory or something, right, not a school purpose, the fee simple goes to O. But as a practical matter, people aren't in the business of saying, you know what, shucks, you're right, I'm just going to leave, right? You have to go to court and sue. But the court will say, yes, you won Blackacre on some date in the past when the condition was violated. That's what I mean by automatic, right? Once the condition is violated, then O gets his full bundle of sticks. He may not have physical access to the property, but he gets his bundle of sticks. The next interest is different, right? The next interest is the fee simple, subject to conditions subsequent. Hey, Samantha, are you here?
Yes.
Samantha, what is the duration of the fee simple subject to a condition subsequent? How do we define that one?
It's conditional.
What does conditional mean?
Basically, it depends like on a certain circumstance or something like that.
What are some of the words that would suggest you have a fee simple subject to condition subsequent?
You have like provided, however, but if.
Yeah, but if is the big one. Provided, however, you'll see sometimes on the condition that, right? Okay. Samantha, help us out now. Give me an example of a fee simple subject to condition subsequent with the school.
We can say from O to school, but if Blackacre is used for residential purposes, and this is when the condition appears and O has a right to re-enter.
Okay, very good. I'm going to just tweak it just a little bit, but that was very good. Promoted school, comma, but if Blackacre is not used for school purposes, then O has a right of entry. Now, again, you'll sometimes see right of entry, right of re-entry, right to enter. You'll see it different ways. They're all the same thing. And I'll probably use them interchangeably because it doesn't really matter. Then it was right of entry, right? Okay, thank you, Samantha. John, you here? Yeah, John, you here? Okay, there you are. John, what is the future interest that matches up with the fee simple subject to condition subsequent?
So that would be the right of re-entry.
And who has that right?
It would be to O.
Okay, good, yeah. So O has what's called a right of entry or right of re-entry. You'll see it a dozen different ways. Is this one automatic there, John?
The right of re-entry is not automatic.
So what must O do to exercise his right of entry?
There's some process. He needs to go to court.
Yeah.
Or officially file.
And what if O never goes to court? Who keeps the present interest?
Then the present interest would be to,
Who gets to keep the present interest?
I guess, the heirs of whoever was terminated.
Was it terminated, though, if he never goes to court? Well, let's just say that the school board turns the property into a factory and then O never goes to court. Does the present interest of the school board ever terminate?
I guess not.
No, it doesn't. So again, who gets to keep the present interest?
It would be whoever it was granted to.
Who is that?
It would be a third party.
No.
Well,
Who had the school for who had the property for all these years?
the school did. The school did.
Did they lose it?
No.
If O never asserts his right of entry, who gets to keep the property? I think you answered it already.
The school.
The school. Yeah, very good. Okay, good. Thank you so much for that, John. All right. Everyone get how he filled in these 4 rows. Again, it took almost 20 minutes, but I think it was a worthwhile experience, right? You need to become fluent. What do I mean by being fluent? If I give you the phrase fee simple determinable, you need to know what words make up a fee simple determinable. If I give you the words of a future interest, you need to know, oh, that's a fee simple determinable. If I give you the words of the future interest, you need to work backwards. Say, if this is the future interest, that tells me what the present interest is, right? For example, in the case today, there was some language that reverts back to, right? The court said, well, that sounds kind of like a possible reverter, right? You need to be fluent. If I give you any one of these 4 boxes, you need to be able to go backwards or forwards and know what's in all the other 4 boxes. Now, the exam's open book, right? You can have this chart with you, but I'm going to tell you this chart's not going to mean diddly squat if you don't understand why each column is the way it is. That's why I think I called on a couple of you. I said, why is this box the way it is? And you're like, I don't know, right? You're just looking at your notes. That won't help you. So you really need to be able to fill this in. Now, I mean, I give you a tip, which you can try, but I would, before the midterm, start with this grid and just fill it in from memory, right? See if you can do it before the midterm. Fill in the entire grid from memory. If you can do that from memory, I think you're in very good shape. If you're just looking at this chart and say, oh, yeah, I'll just copy it for my exam, then I think you're going to be in trouble. All right. Sounds good, everybody? I'm telling you, I mean, this is the same thing that generations lost students have struggled with. If you're struggling with it, I'm with you. I hear you. I'm happy to help, but you need to be able to know this chart fluently. And the book has the same chart. They frame it a little bit differently. They just the way they put their columns, but it's the same information. I like this a little bit better, but I don't think there's any sort of I don't think there's any sort of magical way. But this is how I think of it. Okay. Questions so far? Let's do questions. I got lots of questions today. The best way to learn future interest is to do questions. But it's just that this is not something that you can just sort of learn. You have to do questions. All right. Let's look at question number 1. All right. Question number 1. It should be on your devices. O conveys Blackacre to A and her heirs, comma. But if Blackacre is used for any purpose other than agriculture, comma, then O has right to re-enter and take possession of the land. What interest does A have? Okay. And this one's going to be for, I think, Matt in about 15 seconds. Okay. Matt, you here? Matt H?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, sir. What's your answer here?
Fee simple, subject to condition subsequent.
Okay. That's right. How do you know it's a fee simple subject to condition subsequent?
So there was a couple things that I noticed. One was the right to re-enter. So that's just kind of, it's not an automatic, when it's not used for agriculture, it automatically becomes a possibility of a murder. So therefore, O has to take action to reclaim the land.
Okay, good. What else tells you that this is a fee simple subject to condition subsequent? You're right. When you see the future interest, that's a future interest that's consistent with the fee simple subject. But there's another important clue in this question.
Is it that that they only designate it for agricultural purposes?
What's the language that's
So
used after the comma?
But if
What does but if tell you?
it's the duration,
No. But if is not a durational word. Look at your chart.
it's conditional. Yeah, it's a condition. Sorry.
You see why this gets confusing, right? I can give you a question where I don't make the back half clear, but the front half is clear, right? You have to look at both the present interest and the future interest and go comma by comma to A and her heirs, right? Comma. Matt, if I stop there to A and her heirs, period, what would A have?
That's a fee simple.
But I go comma, but if. What happens when it's a fee simple followed by but if? What does that tell you?
It then becomes a fee simple subject to condition subsequent.
And how do you know it's a condition subsequent and not a condition precedent?
Because it's subsequent to them giving it rather than making it a condition that.
I don't know what you just said. I don't know what it and that is. How do you know this is a condition subsequent?
So the condition subsequent is when they give the property and they keep it as long as the condition is not met.
Don't say as long as, that's durational.
Mhm.
What's the clue I told you of how you know the condition comes after? Subsequent means after. It's a very simple clue. Look at it. To A inner heirs, comma, but if. What's the textual clue?
Is it the but if?
Where does the but if appear?
Before the condition.
The but if is the condition.
Oh, I'm sorry. Before what it's supposed to be used for.
No.
Okay.
What does subsequent mean?
After.
Where does the but if appear in the sentence? After what?
After the fee simple.
Ah, there it is. Now he sees it. Everyone else see that? Right? To A inner heirs, comma. Right? If it was just to A inner heirs, period, you said it. It was be a fee simple. You said it right a minute ago. When the but if comes after the grant of the fee simple, after the comma, right? You know you have a fee simple subject to a condition subsequent, a condition after the fact, right? He has it, A has it, but he'll lose it if he doesn't do agriculture. You need to focus on the commas. That's why I'm sorry, Matt was just next in line, but you got beat up on that. I'm sorry, right? You have to focus on the punctuation. It really does matter. And I'm going to be trying to be very careful with the punctuation, when I write these questions, but you got to pay attention to this. All right, Matt, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Very good. Right now, not all of you got this one right. Some of you wrote a fee simple subject to condition precedent. That's wrong. Condition precedent, something else. That is something else completely. Some of you just wrote fee simple. That's wrong. Some people wrote fee simple, condition subsequent. No, you need the word subject in there. You have to spell it out in its entirety. Fee simple, subject to condition subsequent. One of you wrote fee simple, subject to subsequent condition. That's not right. It's fee simple, subject to a condition subsequent. I know it's a mouthful. It's hard to say, but you have to say it full. All right. Questions on that one? Zach, your hand was up forever and then went down. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you partially answered it. I just looked at the wrong box on the chart because of the way the question was written.
Yeah, you got to be careful. It's not always going to be perfect. I'm not always going to write it in the exact way you want me to.
No, it wasn't the hypo. It was the question, because on the chart, you're looking for the box underneath the state, not for the box underneath duration, and I just flipped it back.
Okay. You good now?
Yeah, it's a little more clear now.
Okay, cool. All right, guys, let's try number 2. Oh, yeah, Derek, go ahead. I see your hands up.
So I want to make sure I get this clear. This is a condition subsequent because it's going back to the grantor and not to another third party.
Well, there's several reasons why it's a fee simple subject to condition subsequent. And just make sure you say the entire phrase. I think you just said condition subsequent. So there's a couple of reasons, right? One is this but if language. 2 is that it says the future interest is a right of entry. And there's a third reason, which I'm not focusing on now, but you're absolutely right about. The future interest goes back to O. If it went to a third party, it would be something else, which we haven't done yet. Those are the executory interests, right?
Okay.
I'm deliberately not doing that because the executory interests are a disaster. So I'm deliberately not answering, but you're ahead of the game and you're right.
Okay. I just want to make sure that it was those 3 that.
Yeah, I've only given you 2 of them yet, but that's a third reason, right? There are different clues that tell you how to decide what kind of future interest you got. Okay. Let's try number 2. All right. So this is actually 2A. O conveys Blackacre to A and her heirs, so long as Blackacre is used for residential purposes only. Question 2A is, what interest does A have? And this will be for Simran in about 20 seconds. Yeah, that one year when I had that one student in the makeup class, I felt I had she had like basically a private tutor. It was actually an excellent class. I feel like, how often you have a one-on-one law professor tutor for an entire class? That's pretty cool. So It was fun for me. I enjoyed it. All right, Matt, is it a question about this one, or is it a question about something else?
I'm just letting you know, I answered the last question, but my internet was too slow to get it done.
That's fine. All right, Simran, you here?
Yes.
All right, tell me, sir, what is your answer to question 2A?
I have a fee simple determinative.
Say it again.
Fee simple determinative.
That's not the right answer. You have the wrong ending of your word. Check your notes.
No. Determinable.
Say it one more time and complete.
Determinable. Fee simple determinable.
Say it one more time, just so it gets in your head.
Fee simple determinable.
That's the right answer. I think you said fee simple determinative.
Yeah, I think it autocorrect and I was just reading my answer.
Oh, is that an autocorrect thing in your phone?
It might have been. I'm not sure. I'm not just mixed it up.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
that's damn autocorrect, right? Okay, that's right. How do you know, Simran, it's a fee simple determinable?
Because it says so long.
And what does so long as tell you?
It's durational.
Okay, but let's just take this one step at a time. It says to ain or heirs so long as. Let's say I put a period after to ain or heirs. What would it be? If I just put a period after to ain or heirs and the sentence ended there, what would you have?
Then that would just be a fee simple.
Okay, but it's not a fee simple absolute. There's something that comes after the fee simple. What comes after the fee simple?
A condition.
Don't say condition, because this is durational words.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand why I'm yelling at you? What's the difference between conditional language and durational language?
Duration would be over, like it wouldn't be changing, or just be.
Go to your table. What's the difference between durational words and conditional words? This is very important because you're going to get lost if you don't understand this point.
Conditional words be like but if, provided, however.
And what do durational words sound like?
While, during, until.
Good. Don't just say condition because it sounds right. When you're dealing with a durational thing, you're measuring length of time. You're not measuring if then. Everyone see at that point? Again, Matt and Simran just happened to be next to my buzzsaw, but they were the next people in line. It's a fee simple, but it's not subject to a condition. That's exactly what's not going on. It's a fee simple that lasts for a certain duration, and then it ends. We call that the fee simple determinable, right? The first one, the fee simple subject, condition, subsequent, it's self-descriptive, right? It's a fee simple that's subject to a condition after condition, subsequent. It's self-descriptive. But the fee simple determinable is not self-descriptive because the word determinable doesn't mean anything to you, right? What the hell is determinable or determinative, right? Who knows? Determinable means it may terminate at some point in the future, like determine, terminate, right? They're related words. But it may terminate at some point in the future, some time in the future. All right? All right, Simran, thanks. Who's next? Bennett, are you here?
Yes, sir.
All right, Bennett, help me out here. I didn't put this in the poll, but I'm going to ask it now. 2B, what interest does O have?
2B?
Yeah.
2B.
Yeah, to be or not to be, right? Yeah. What does O have? Yeah.
Since we were dealing with the fee simple determinable, the future interest of that is possibility of reverter.
That's correct. Is there anything in question 2 that tells you or that says O has possibly reverted? Does it say that anywhere?
No, but we imply that if it's not said.
Infer. Just
Okay.
Wait, let me pause here a second. Law students often confuse infer and imply, right? Just don't mess this up. You're not alone, Bennett. To imply is when I suggest an answer, right? If I imply something as professor, you, Bennett, infer what I'm saying, right? So the conveyance implies something, and you can infer from it. It's just it's a pet peeve, but it's there. But you're right. O has the possibility reverter. Last question, Bennett, and then you're done. If A converts the property into a commercial facility, factory or something, does it automatically go in fee simple to O?
Theoretically, yes, but they would have to take some action.
Right. So in theory, at least, once you convert that to a factory, O has a full bundle of sticks. O has a fee simple and present interest, and you can convey that to someone else. right? And that's really where it matters in Marinholtz, right? If you have this fee simple, you may not have physical access, but you can then sell your interest at common law, right? Okay, good. Thanks, Ben. I appreciate that. Infer and imply, yeah, law students will always mix those up, but it's, you know, you live and learn. All right, next question. All right, yeah, we can do question 3 now. Question 3. And this will be for, I think Catherine's here next. All right, O conveys Whiteacre to A for life, comma. Then to B and her heirs if B survives A. I'm not asking you what interest B has. That will come later in this class. My question is a little bit different. What interest does O have? I'm not interested in what B has. That gets a little messy. I want to know what O has. Oh, wow. Uh-oh, we're in trouble with this one. We are in trouble with this one. All right. Catherine, you here? We are in trouble. Catherine? No? Oni, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Good morning, Oni. This one might take a while, but we'll do the best we can, okay?
Okay.
Is your camera off? I think your camera's off.
Yes, it is. Hold
Okay.
on.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. All right, Oni, so let me ask you this question, please. Let's go clause by clause, right?
Okay.
O conveys Whiteacre to A for life, comma, right? If I put a period there, what would we have? If I just said to A for life, just simple, what do we have?
So that would be a life estate.
Okay, so but now we have from O to A for life, comma. Okay, then to B and her heirs. If I put a period after heirs, what would we have? To A for life, comma, then to B and her heirs.
That would be a remainder in fee simple.
Okay. If I just put a period there, would O have any interest in this question?
If you put a period there, O would have a reversion.
Well, no, hold on. If B has a remainder in fee simple, would O ever have any future interest?
If B has a remainder, no, because then B would have the absolute, or B would have all the bundles of six.
Okay, very good. All right. So to A for life, that would be life estate. Then to B and her heirs, B has remainder in fee simple. But then we get this last part on you. Then to B and her heirs, if B survives A. I don't care what we call that right now. We'll call it something later, right? But B had a remainder.
Mm-hmm.
Is it certain, Onyi, that B will survive A?
No.
If B does not survive A, what happens to Black or Whiteacre?
So if B does not survive A, then technically his remainder would go away and it would then go back to O.
All right. Here's the $1 million question on you. And don't fight it. You want to fight it, but don't fight it. What do you call a future interest after life estate that goes back to the grantor?
That is a reversion.
A reversion.
A reversion of fee simple.
What interest does O have here?
O has a reversion in fee simple.
That's right. Not one of you got that one right. I think 0% got that one right. Now I want to excellent. Only that was fantastic. Very good. That took less time than I thought it would, but that was very good. A lot of you put a fee simple subject to condition subsequent because you saw the phrase if, right? You saw if, like, oh, that's it, Blackman, right? You can't do that. First off, the fee simple subject to condition subsequent is a present interest, right? O does not have a present interest here. O has a future interest. So you're wrong off the bat. You can't just look at the word if or while or during and then jump to an answer, right? You have to go clause by clause. And you can't forget the things I've taught you. When you have a present interest that's a fee simple determinable, O would then have a possibly reverter. When you have a present interest that's a fee simple subject condition subsequent, then O has a right of entry. And it says right of entry. Does the phrase right of entry appear anywhere in this question? No, it doesn't. Right? If there's no right of entry mentioned, it's probably not going to be a fee simple subject condition subsequent. You can't forget what we learned last week, and that's why I put this question deliberately. A is life estate, B as remainder. It's a special kind of remainder we'll talk about later in class, but B as remainder. And then after B's remainder, it's not complete. It's got to go somewhere. All right, I see 3 hands. Derek, Tyler, then Aaron.
So I put a contingent reversion in fee simple, and I'm trying to figure out what, because you can have a contingent remainder, could you theoretically have a contingent reversion, or is a reversion never contingent?
All right.
Because it's like condition.
You know what? Hold on. You know what? I'm sorry. My clicker wasn't updating. A couple of you did get that one right. I apologize. A few of you did get that right. I think several people did revert. You know what, Derek? I'm sorry. So what did you put again?
I put contingent reversion in fee simple, but I can see why it would just be a simple reversion.
Well, let me answer your question gently, without creating more confusion than I need to right now. We're starting to get into the realm where you might have a future interest that is not certain to happen. Okay? We've done remainder so far. Remainders are going to happen. Someone's going to die. But a remainder may not be certain. And a reversion may not be certain. So for now, the simple answer is going to be reversion and fee simple. But it's not certain to happen. There's no such thing as a contingent reversion, which I think what you said, that's not a thing. But it's a reversion that's not certain to vest. And I'll just leave it there for now. So I apologize. Several of you actually did reversion and fee simple. About 5 of you did, which is good. I for some reason, my clicker wasn't updating, so I wasn't seeing the right results. All right. So okay. So actually, it's not as bad as I thought. Okay. So that's actually better. I actually apologize. That's my screw up. Usually when I do a poll question, it jumps the next one. Here, it didn't show me the right answers right away. All right. I see Tyler. Then I see Aaron. Then I see Derek.
So is the reason that it's not a possibility of reverter only because there is no durational language?
You will only have a possibly reverter if the present interest is a fee simple determinable. There is no present interest or fee simple determinable here.
Right, that's what I'm saying. There's no durational language.
But look, I don't want you to say that, because you can have a fee simple determinable without durational language, right? Sometimes people will write things that aren't so clear, and the court can say this is a fee simple determinable. For example, in Marinholtz, right? That didn't have any durational language.
I'm just talking specifically in this example.
No, I don't want you to say that though. The only way you have a possibly reverter is if the present interest is a fee simple determinable. You can have a fee simple determinable without durational language. You don't need it. There might be other clues that tell you that. For example, the word only in Marinholtz, right? In Marinholtz, of course, they have a fee simple determinable. There was no durational language. So I'm making something very clearly. Don't wed yourself to the language, because the language won't always help you. That make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I see Aaron's hand up, then Derek. Go ahead, Aaron.
I was actually going to ask the exact same question as Tyler. So.
Oh, good. I can live with that. All right. Yeah, Derek, you're next. All right, let me answer your question. There's no fee simple here that determines, right? What's cut short or what might never happen is remainder. Again, the reason why it's called fee simple determinable is there's a fee simple that might determine, that is, might terminate, right? There was no fee simple conveyed here at all. Look at question number 3 again. It was a life estate to A. A's fine. He's going to live his life. And then when A dies, a choice has to be made. Does it go to B or does it go to O? There's no fee simple being cut short. It can't be a fee simple determinable. There's no fee simple subject to condition subsequent. There's no fee simple, right? At the point of A's death, a choice has to be made. If B is still alive, it goes to B in fee simple. If B is dead, then O has in fee simple, right? So there's no fee simple terminating. There's no fee simple determinable. So you need to look at what the first present interest is to figure out what the future interest is, right? Now, later in class, although more likely we'll do it in class on Monday, we'll discuss what kind of remainder B has. B's remainder is not vested. It's going to be called contingent, right? And I will do that later. I don't want to explain now. But B's remainder is contingent. And because B is a contingent remainder, there's still got to be some future interest floating around after the life estate. And we call that the reversion to O. All right. Make sense?
Thank you.
Yeah, Derek. I'm sorry. Yeah, Zach, go ahead. You're next.
Yes, sir. So the correct answer is that O has
Reversion
in fee simple.
I would say that's the correct answer. Yeah. Yeah. If you want to say something like reversion fee simple, but it may not happen, that's fine. But you don't really need to say that. And the reason why is we know there's a contingent remainder for B. And the fact that it's a contingent remainder tells us the reversion is not certain to happen, right? I'm deliberately not doing the remainder because I didn't do that quite yet. But if we say A is a life estate, B is a contingent remainder, and O is reversion, you'll know what that means, right? The reversion following the contingent remainder is not certain. All right, thanks, Zach.
So simple yes or no question.
Oh, God. You can't ask a law professor that. That's mean.
Earlier in the semester, you said that one of the principles of property is that you cannot convey something you own.
You cannot convey something what?
You cannot convey something you don't have.
Well, you can. It might be fraud. So people try it all the time, but you can't actually convey it.
That's assuming you're not committing a crime.
Okay.
But you cannot convey something you don't have.
That's right.
So is another principle that you can only give up fee simple if you affirmatively give it up. You have to affirmatively give up.
Yeah, I don't know what affirmatively means. It's not a yes or no question, but if you have a fee simple and you have a life estate to A and a contingent remainder to B, you've given up your fee simple and you reserve yourself for reversion in this question, number 3.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Other questions, number 3. Yeah, Bennett, go ahead.
I know the question asked what interest does O have, but I'm inferring from the question that there's 2 people who are able to have future interest in the same property.
Yes, exactly. Let me make this point. There can only be one present interest at a time, only one. There can be multiple future interests. And just to make this question even more simpler, look what the question I said. I said, what future interest does O have? I said future in the question, right? A fee simple subject to condition subsequent is not a future interest. It's a present interest. So I even gave you a hint in the question. I want a future interest. B here has a future interest, contingent remainder. And after B's interest comes O's, reversion, which may or may not happen depending on the longevity of B. Make sense?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Bennett. Anyone else on number 3? All right. You're going to hate me for number 4, but I need to do this. Let's do number 4. This is from your book also, so I'm not, this is from your book. O conveys A for a period of 20 years. And this is not a lease, just it's a term of years, right? O conveys A for 20 years, fixed period. Right? What future interest does O have? You're going to hate me after this one, but I need to do it. All right, and this is gonna be for who's next? Raymond, you here? Raymond?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. What does O have in number 3? Number four. Number 4.
Well, your preface to the question makes me not feel very confident, but I said reversion and fee simple.
You're right. That's exactly right. That's the right answer. Why did you say reversion and fee simple?
Because he gave the present interest away, and when it returns back to the grantor, he will have both of the sticks again.
Oh, okay, good. You're 90% of the way there. Let me just try a little differently. What did O have at the outset when he began this transaction?
A fee simple.
So he had the full bundle of sticks, right? He chopped up his bundle. He gave 1 stick to A, right? How long did that stick last for?
20 years.
2 decades. Okay, good. You're right. Who kept the other sticks in the bundle?
Oh,
What happens after 20 years? What happens to the A stick?
it goes back.
To O. All right. The definition of remainder is actually a little bit broader than what I've been telling you. It's what my definition I gave you is right, and it helps you for a certain point, but I need you to get this point. Reversion isn't just following a life estate. That's it in 90% of the cases. But when you have the grantor has the fee simple or some large interest, he gives a small part of his interest to someone else. And then after that condition comes back to him, it's reversion. Reversion is not only after life estate, like 99% of the time it is. But you can also have reversion after a term of years, 20 years. Right? So again, I don't want you to change your notes and say, oh, Blackman lied to me. I'm not lying to you. I gave you a definition that worked for what we did so far, but now I need to tweak the definition. With the reversion, the grantor has some broad interest. He gives a smaller part of that interest to a third party. And then after that conveyance, it comes back to him. And when it comes back to him, that's going to be reversion. This is from your book. I'm not making this up. I'm not trying to be misleading. But the definitions of these terms, I think I need to sort of, ease you into it. If I just gave you the book has this awful definition. Let me just tell you how the book defines it. I did, Derek, get you a second. Right? Here's how the book defines it. A remainder is interest remaining in a grantor when he transfers a vested estate of lesser quantum than the vested estate which he has. Who the hell knows that a lesser quantum? What does that even mean? What they're saying is if you have the full bundle of sticks and you give one of those sticks to a third party and then later that's coming back to you, that's going to be a reversion. If the stick goes to someone else, another third party, that's a remainder, right? But in like 99% of the cases, it's after life estate. And if you remember just that much, you'll be in good shape. Okay, Derek, patiently waiting.
So would it be incorrect to think about reversion in sort of like fixed time? So like it would come after a fixed time period.
It comes after a natural termination, right? Which could be death because everyone dies, but it also could be a term of years, right? I know this lease will end in 20 years. I don't know when I'm going to die. So when you say fixed, I want you to be just a little bit careful in that it's usually after something that's natural. It's not a conditional, right? It's not if you randomly start using your school for a factory, right? That's something conditional. There, it's a natural termination, even though death is to be violent, but it's something that happens naturally. I think that's the way we have to distinguish it. But it's almost always you're almost always going to start with a life estate. I mean, that's how you'll see it, but you might see it starting after a term of years. Yeah. Tyler, go ahead. Yes, I think you're mute, sir. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that. And it's a reversion only when, at the creation of the future interest, the grantor retains it, correct?
Right, that's his only shot. Right after he creates it, it's not his anymore. So he needs to decide where the future interest is going. If the grantor puts the future interest in a third party, then you have a remainder.
Right, and if the third party then sells it back to the grantor, it is still a remainder, correct?
I want to answer your question carefully. So, from O to A for life, then to B and his heirs, and then B sells his interest back to O. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
It would still be a remainder, but it's one held by the grantor. Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay.
Bennett's trying to get crafty. I know what you're trying to do. It's not wrong. It's not only term of years. There are many different types of lesser estates. That's why the book uses the greater quantum and the lesser quantum. Right? You have the full bundle of sticks and maybe something less than the full bundle of sticks. So keep my definition, but just understand it need not be a life estate. It could be something else. It's lesser than a fee simple. Right? It could be a leasehold. Right? It could be something else, but it's not on a condition. I know, it sucks. You thought this was so simple, then you come to class like, oh no, what did he do? Why did he ruin my chart? I'm sorry, the chart's going to be dead very soon. It's like I build it up, I make it very nice, you memorize it, and then I have to kill it and bury it after class. All right. I'm not going to do the vested and contingent remainder today. I'm not going to have time. I'm going to do Marin-Holtz instead, and we'll do the vested and contingent in class on Monday. Owen, you was your hand up? I saw it jumped up.
But I think you might have answered my question, but I just want to confirm. So in this case, would the present interest be the term of years, or would it still be?
Yes.
Okay.
The present interest is the term of years, and when that terminates naturally after 20 years, it goes to it goes back to O as reversion.
Okay, thank you.
All right, questions. All right, let's do Marin-Holtz. So I want to make sure I get to this. I skipped it in class on Wednesday. All right. Let me make this point because people are confused. Today, the modern rule and the majority rule is that you can convey a possibility reverter and you can convey a right of entry. All right. So if I have a possibly reverter or right of entry, I can sell it to you. And then you have the future interest. At common law, you couldn't. At common law, these future interests were not alienable. You couldn't transfer them inter vivos. Indeed, you couldn't even leave them in a will. In Illinois, at least, the only way to convey it was it goes to your heirs. Not your will heirs, your actual heirs, which is a very strange rule. All right? That is the basis of this case. You have a future interest that was conveyed to various people and didn't work because you couldn't do it. The only way to convey these future interests was through inheritance through heirs. Okay? Everyone with me? So let's look at the language in this deed. Just put it in the chat so we can see it easily. And I'm just calling it School Acre. It doesn't have a name, but I'm calling it School Acre. There's Black Acre, there's White Acre, there's Green Acre, there's School Acre. There's all these acres, right? The deeds say that School Acre was to be used for school purposes only, semicolon. Otherwise, to revert to grantors, who are the Huttons family. Matt, you here?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we have these two clauses separated by a semicolon. By the way, a clause, I realize students don't know the word clause is. A clause is a part of a sentence, right? Usually a sentence has commas or semicolons, and on either side of the punctuation is a clause. So you have clause 1 and clause 2. So clause 1, Matthew says, be used for school purposes only. Is there any durational language? Only so long as during?
I would say no. There's not really much language there.
Well, just one at a time. Is there any durational language?
No.
Okay.
Say no.
Is there any conditional language?
The word, I guess the phrase purpose only, or only, I guess, would be some kind of language you could.
Is that a condition? Is it like if or but or provided?
Only, to me, it seems kind of like a condition, but I could see a way that it couldn't be a condition too.
All right. All right. Thanks, Matthew. Let's look at the second half of the sentence. Second clause after the semicolon. Does it discuss a right of entry? Does the phrase right of entry appear anywhere there?
No, the phrase right of entry isn't.
What word appears there?
Revert.
What does revert sound like?
Reverter.
Which is close to what that we've studied?
Reversion, or I guess possibly a reverter.
Okay. So, Matthew, what do we do with this? Right, the back half seems to resemble a possibility reverter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the front half seems to resemble conditional language, which is the fee simple subject to condition subsequent. What do we do here?
You know, I think you get a lawyer and you hustle and figure it out.
Did the Court of Appeals agree with the trial court in this one?
No, they did not.
No, they did not. So you have two judges who can't even agree on this language.
Yeah.
This is why I was sort of beating up on Tyler a minute ago. You have to be very careful about relying on language. Often you'll have a conveyance drafted by non-attorneys that doesn't fit any model. And you need to be very careful, right? Be very careful about how you define your rules. Because in this conveyance, I can go either way, right? I actually think the trial court had a better analysis, and I'll explain why maybe a little bit later, but I think you can go either way on this one. Okay? This can be read in two different ways. I think it can be read reasonably as a fee simple subject to condition subsequent, followed by right of entry. This conveyance could also be read as a fee simple determinable, followed by a possibility of reverter. I think you could make good arguments on either side. I think it's credible arguments on both sides. Now, why does it matter? Okay, why does it matter which one it is? Right, Josh, what difference does it even make? So in this case, we have a very lengthy fact pattern. I'm going to just skip ahead to 1969, right? In 1969, what's her name? Jenny. Jenny Hutton died, right? In 1969, Jenny Hutton died. At that point, her son inherited a future interest in this property, School Acre. Okay? So again, in 69, Jenny died, and then her son inherited this future interest in the property. 4 years later, the school district converted it to a storage facility. All right, James, you here? James? No. Natasha, you here? Yeah. All right, Natasha, help me out here. Okay, so in 1973, the school converted the building to a storage center, right? So let's game this out in two different ways. What would happen if this conveyance was a fee simple determinable, right? What would happen as soon as the building was converted to storage?
The possibility of reverter in fee simple would kick in, and the O would be have the full bundle of 6 again.
Who's O here?
The Huttons.
Well, the Huttons are dead. So who's O?
Oh, Harry.
Harry. Yeah, Harry. Okay. So just Natasha's walking through this, right? If this was a fee simple determinable followed by a possibility reverter, as soon as the school is converted to storage, what interest does Harry have?
The fee simple.
Fee simple absolute. Could Harry have then conveyed the fee simple to the Marinholtzes in 1977?
Under the common law?
Yeah.
No.
Well, if Harry had a fee simple, can he sell a fee simple?
He has the full bundle, so he can convey it to whoever he wants.
Exactly right. Thank you, Natasha. Very good. If we were dealing here with a fee simple determinable followed by right of entry, I'm sorry, I did it. If we're dealing with a fee simple determinable followed by a possibility reverter, as soon as the building is converted to storage, Harry Hutton gets a full bundle of 6. His fee simple. And once it's a fee simple, he can go sell it off to the Marinholtzes. That's fine. You're allowed to do that. You can convey a fee simple inter vivos. And if that was the case, then the school land is now owned fee simple by the Marinholtzes. All right. That's option number 1. So big surprise, not surprise at all. The Marinholtzes say that this conveyance is a fee simple determinable. Why? Because that would give them a fee simple, right? The only way that Marinholtzes can win this case is if the 1941 deed granted a fee simple determinable. Does everyone see that? Everyone understand why the Marinholtzes preferred the fee simple determinable? You know, someone asked me in class last week, why would you not have a fee simple determinable? Well, look, these were non-lawyers and they drafted what they drafted. We don't really know what their intent was. We can only guess at it. But we know that the Marinholtzes wanted a fee simple determinable. Paul, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Paul, thank you. There's a second possible reading of this deed. What's the second possible reading of the deed?
Be the fee subject condition.
Well, no. Start again. You stumbled a bit. Say it again.
Fee simple subject to condition subsequent.
There it is. I think you got all the words in there, right? Fee simple subject to condition subsequent. And then what would the future interest be?
The future interest be the right of entry for O.
Okay, who's O here?
Harry Hutton.
Okay, Harry, good. So help me out here, Paul. Let's say that the 1941 deed conveyed a fee simple subject to condition subsequent. Let's just say that's the assumption here. What would happen in 73 when the property was converted to storage?
It would remain with the school until Harry did something about it. He would have to go into a quiet title.
You have to go sue, right? Did Harry ever actually do that? Did Harry ever go to court and take legal action?
No, he didn't.
Okay. So one more question, Paul, then you're done. If Harry never took legal action to claim the school property, what interest did he still have?
Would he still have a reversion?
Not a reversion. You said it before correctly.
A reverter?
No, even wronger.
Yeah,
Okay, good. When the school was converted to storage, Harry had his right of entry, which he could exercise, but he never did. Okay? Sorry, Paul, you're not done quite yet. When Harry conveyed his interest to the Marinholtzes in 1977, if the president was a fee simple subject to condition subsequent, could Harry convey his future interest to the Marinholtzes?
No, because he had to take action. It's not
right.
automatic.
At common law, could he convey a right of entry?
think so.
No. Okay. So then Bennett, so was anything actually conveyed when what's his face, Harry sold his interest in the Marinholtzes? Was anything actually conveyed?
He had nothing to convey.
He had nothing to convey. And then in the next transaction where he says he releases all of his claims to the school, could he do that?
No.
Yeah, you can. What he's basically saying is, I will never sue the school. That's what a release is. All right, thanks, Paul. You're good. All right, so Ben, I see your hand. I'll come to you in a minute. Let me just walk you through this one step at a time, right? Let's say that, in fact, there was a fee simple subject to condition subsequent, followed by a right of entry. That present interest does not terminate automatically. Rather, Harry would have to take some sort of legal action, which he never did. In May of 1977, Harry only had a future interest in the property. And you cannot convey in Illinois a future interest in the property. Then in 77, when he released his interest to the school, he said to the school, I will never sue you. I will never exercise my right of entry. At that point, for all practical purposes, the school had a fee simple, right? If Harry promises that he will never exercise his right of entry, it's not exactly a fee simple, but basically the school saying, okay, we're good. We can keep using it in storage. All right, Bennett, go ahead.
Is quiet title the period after the condition subsequent is broken, but before legal action is taken?
Well, quiet title refers to the type of lawsuit you bring. I think of a statute of limitation, you might be thinking something different.
Okay, because I didn't have an exact definition. I was just
quiet title is you're asking a court to settle any sort of conflicts over the stay of the title. Who owns what?
Oh, okay.
That's what quiet title means.
Okay.
Thanks. All right, but everyone see that important point. If it's a fee simple subject to condition subsequent, right? It's not automatic. Harry never took steps to re-enter. Therefore, nothing was conveyed to the Marinholtzes. And the school got all the interest later because Harry said, I'm not going to sue the school. Now, we don't know why Harry changed his mind. 1 minute he's working with the Marinholtzes, a couple months later he's working with the schools. We don't even know what happened. What does the court do here? The court says, well, we agree with the Marinholtzes. The word only sounds kind of durational. The word revert sounds like the word possibility reverter. Therefore, we think the intent was for it to be automatic. It goes back right away. So we have a fee simple determinable, followed by the possibility of reverter. Therefore, as soon as 1973 happened, the condition was, I said it. As soon as 1973 happened, the terms of the deed were violated. And Harry had fee simple. And he could convey that fee simple to the Marinholtzes. Now, if you read after the case, you would see where it says the court later said that using the school to store school supplies is for school purposes. I'll give you a break. I don't like that part of the whole thing. I think it's probably wrong. But that's what the court held. So in the end, the Huttons had this reversionary interest, but because the terms were never violated, the land stayed with the school. Messy case, right? I actually think the trial court had a better answer. I don't think this was an automatic. I think this was a right of entry, but what do I know? Yeah, the idea that this was being automatic, just the usual presumption, right? I think there's a note about this after the case. Usually, the courts presume if you have an ambiguous provision, that could either be a fee simple determinable or a fee simple subject to condition subsequent. They usually presume it's the condition subsequent because it's not automatic. Because the automatic one's very violent, but that's what the court did here. All right. Questions on Marinholtz. Messy case, but and this litigation went on for years and years, almost a decade. Oh, okay. All right. Questions. All right. I've started the minute poll, so please be sure to enter it. My advice for you all is to try and go back and fill in the chart from memory. Don't look at your notes, do it from memory. If you can't do it from memory, you're not quite ready yet. Because Monday, the chart will fall apart. So you need to at least know the chart before we rip it apart. Because on Monday, we're going to add the contingent investor remainders. And on Monday, we're going to add the executory interest. And you're going to be miserable. But we'll make it as clean as we can. Okay? Matthew, go ahead.
For the example you gave us earlier, O conveys to A for 20 years. What is the present interest that A has?
It's called a term of years, which we haven't done yet, which is why I didn't ask you that, but it's called a term of years.
Okay, thank you.
We'll do it later this term. No pun intended. Okay, all right, guys. We good? All right, I'll see you all in class on Nicole, go ahead. I know the iClicker is not working. I know.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
It's giving me error messages saying that I can't create a question. I'm not sure what's going on. I'll try it again. If it doesn't work, then whatever. I know you're all here, so that's fine. All right, everyone. Take care. Have a good day, and I'll see you around. Yeah, Tyler, I know it's down. I'm sorry. I'll see you guys on Monday. Bye-bye.
Have a good weekend, sir.
Thank you so much. You too.